All right. My name is Tempest, and this is the development update for Pyroclasm, the game jam entry for the 30-day PBBG game jam. This is, I believe, day 5. So just wanted to give a development update about where we are with the game. Um, I'm working with Rynzaii on putting together a kind of a volcano Pompeii themed game with a lot of volcanic activity and ancient buried civilizations. The theme for the game jam is after the end, and so how we are realizing that is sort of uncovering skills and treasure and trinkets and all sorts of stuff after the end of those civilizations. And one of the features that we're going to be kind of experimenting with is even your progress could eventually end, or at least be set back by a volcanic eruption, and then you'd have to start over either entirely or partially. So just wanted to go ahead and walk you through where we are. So this was just kind of a first pass of our kind of our login screen here. You know, your typical login and register. Some nice art that Rynzaii put together, and your kind of more generic, features that you typically find on a game like this. You'll probably end up getting to the map pretty quick. So this is our world map. The world map, as you can see here, very prominently features all the volcanic activity. Now, one of the interesting things about a pyroclastic explosion is it typically will wipe out a location and bury it without necessarily covering it in lava and destroying the site. So it is actually preserved, which is pretty cool, which is again why this game was inspired by Pompeii. That you have a pretty intact city beneath the ash. So lore-wise, we're sort of separating the world into three different regions. Each region is going to have these different locations. So each one of these, for example, is a starting location. And as we dig or explore this site, so we'll just go ahead and click into region 1 here. As we go ahead and explore the site, we're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff. First off, we're going to collect resources that we can reinforce this site. We're going to collect resources to craft with. We're going to find bits of knowledge from the civilizations that we're going to translate that into skills, spells, and as well as pets, sort of the spiritual guardians of these specific locations throughout time. Now, the interesting thing with this is beneath the initial surface here, we're going to be uncovering, say, like a city or something that's maybe 100 years old. But under some of these sites, there's going to be another city beneath that's maybe 500 years old. And beneath that will be another city that's maybe 1,000 years old. In some of these cases, these cities will have known what was previously there. In other cases, they won't, right? 500 years have passed. People are simply resettling that area. The common theme of the game is that there is a lot of volcanic activity that keeps kind of resetting the map. Right, and so someone will come back and then resettle the town, even though the previous iteration has been destroyed. In each location, you can do gathering and battling. They can happen at the same time. Both are ways to accumulate resources, and then spells. Spells can happen at a specific location. They can also be region wide. Spells are going to be a way for players to interact with each other to give each other essentially boosts. And so there'll be some instances where for example, like a regional boss or even like some sort of global boss, a lot of players will end up at a single location and end up powering each other up by basically casting a whole bunch of spells on that location. Other times, the spell casting will be spread out throughout the whole map, depending on where the players have progressed. I'll go back and check out one of these other locations. And so here we have more of like a dwarven, we've discovered like more of like an ancient mine or an ancient location, and then we've set up camp around there to excavate that out. So on our location tab, you'll be able to keep track of your progress. Hey, am I 1 level deep? Am I 2 level deep? Am I 3 level deep? Which civilization am I in? And it'll be interesting. It's like, imagine if, again, that 1,000-year-old civilization is more like an empire, and what sort of skills and spells would they have had, versus like more of a democracy or republic or something like that, maybe only like 400 years ago, right? There'll be some commonality because they're in the same region, so geographically they would have shared similar resources, but perhaps had a whole different mindset when it came to what they were doing with weapons and magic. And then of course, okay, so that's regions. And then we are going to provide sort of like a region summary, which is, again, what I'm showing are only the starting locations within a region, but as you are uncovering details about that particular location, that ancient city, you're going to find, oh, the neighboring city was this one, and the neighbor to that was that, and maybe the capital for the region was a 4th dot. And so the map will flush out as you play the game. And so we're keeping track of skills found in the region, spells found in the region, pets found in the region, maybe some other things like relics, and then of course locations and your progress currently digging down in there. Touching back on that reset mechanic, for each location we are kind of digging vertically. Well, if there is any volcanic activity, that would be where the player loses their progress, potentially. Your knowledge and your crafts would be saved, but the areas of the map that you've uncovered would be reset to kind of slow you down. But there are perhaps things you could do to offset or prevent some of that volcanic activity from affecting you. I'm going to touch back in. Let's see. Okay, so for knowledge, what we're thinking is that each node, each location, and each different level would have perhaps a different skill. Each location, regardless of level, would have a pet, almost like a spiritual guardian of that particular, say like that particular river or that particular mountain or that particular forest, right? So localized pet. So the more time you spend in that location, the more likely you are to find all the pieces you need to unlock that pet and then power it up. For crafting material would be shared throughout the whole region, so that won't be locked to any one particular node. As long as you are gathering and battling in a particular region, you're going to find all the material you need to craft weapons of that particular type. So that's regions and locations. Our knowledge screen. Knowledge is sort of, you're going to collect these little bits of knowledge from these different places. You need to collect enough of it to really unlock a spell, and then to or skill and level up that stuff. Spells are, again, a way to interact with other players and boost either a location or a region or even maybe something global. Skills are going to be, all skills are passive. There's going to be some gathering ones and some combat ones. And as a stretch goal for probably after the game jam, wanted to play around with the idea of that even if you found some ancient text, maybe it's in a different language or an more ancient language, or something like that, it still needs to be kind of deciphered, investigated. You can't just like find a scroll and immediately gain the knowledge from it. You need people to be able to study that stuff, and so that would be a whole other thing you would have to invest some resources or treasure into. We need cultural experts, you need translators, you need anthropologists to sort of take the pile of loot that you found and actually turn it into something useful. So I think that may be too ambitious for this initial game jam, but I think that would be a pretty kind of a bit of authenticity added into the game for what this would look like if you were excavating ancient knowledge and then wanting to enhance your own knowledge with that. Crafting will be pretty straightforward. We don't have really a mock-up there. Our pets here presented a little bit like a Pokedex. We have 9 different pets that we're hinting at right now. And again, each pet here is tied to a different location. As you play on a specific location, you'll uncover the lore that you need to summon the pet, and this will end up proceed on the next screen here. It'll be incorporated into your character screen. So your particular character, I have a whole bunch of say different equipment I can equip and upgrade. I have different skills that I can equip. All of these are passives. And then here you could equip sort of your pet as well. And all of that, the character screen kind of all folds into combat. Now, we don't do combat alone. We've designed a party system where your character can team up with up to 3 other people. Now, the way that I've thought about this is that this is all it's kind of like a passive party. Like I'm adding people to my party. They're not really aware of it. They don't really get a reward from it. They don't get any XP or treasure from it. Otherwise, I feel like there's too many ways for folks to game that particular thing. What I want is similar to how partying is done in Queslar. You and 3 other people, your stats are added together, and then you go forth and see how powerful a mob you can defeat. In here, we're doing something similar. You're bringing in some portion of your stats when you're a party member, as well as 1 or so of your 4 active skills. And so I can I can pick 3 people that I know that are my friends. I can also pick 3 people I don't know, but I want that particular type of damage or that particular skill. I can sort of mix and match and strategize. If someone's in my party, that does not mean I am in their party. And so everyone gets to sort of mix and match their party a bit. I know that's not the most kind of like real-time collaborative feature, but I do think it's fun to sort of see kind of who's active, what are the builds, and what are the different ways we can mix and match players, especially that each one of these locations are going to have different kind of challenges and battles. Let's see. The party. Okay. So I think that is it for now. But okay. Thank you.